It is just past 8 o'clock in the morning and the sun has come through and it is going to get very warm very soon, but the views coming up are amazing.
Are you happy?
Right, I'm about to run my 40th ever marathon. It's part of my 100-mile training series and it's also in one of the most beautiful places on the planet. So come along as I take on the race and take you through the most embarrassing mistakes I've ever done during a marathon. There is definitely something you guys can take from this, and well, I'm going to be running somewhere really cool. So here we go, North Face Transgrancanaria Marathon in 3, 2, 1. We're heading up that bit there, and we've come all over there. We have just got a long way to go. So just into the first mile, I thought I'd kick it off by talking about probably one of the most embarrassing of these 10, Vaseline. It's not an energy gel. So when I did my first marathon, I took every race nutrition, every drink that was going, went past the stand, really had a stick with what I thought had energy gel on it, took it, immediately spat it out. But the look I got was iconic. Traffic jam. Trail next step. So it's 10 o'clock, we're almost sort of 4 miles in. The heat of the day has definitely begun. And I'm going to talk you through mistake number 2, which is linked with these bad boys. And that is not testing race day nutrition. We at the Run Channel bang on about nothing new on race day, getting used to the gels you're going to be taking come race day, but it didn't exist when I first started running, so at least you can learn from my mistakes now. But the first time I ever took a gel was about 2-3 weeks, maybe before my first half marathon. Went out on a long run, took the gel, and immediately needed to go to the bathroom, test it on short runs, and make sure it doesn't give you the runs. Oh God, that was awful. So what is the North Face Transgrancanaria race? Well, there's this race which calls itself a marathon, but it's actually 46-ish K done on Gran Canaria, this incredible, mind-bogglingly beautiful island. Which brings me to the next 2 mistakes that I've made along the way. Okay, so this first one, marathons are the worst kind of tourism. I've regularly gone to marathons all around the world, and when you're there, you feel like you need to go and see the sights because, well, what opportunity are you gonna have to be there again? But a walking tour prior to a marathon is not your friend. That leads me to point number 2, which is marathons are the best kind of tourists. What I mean is, don't spend the entire time looking at your watch, concentrating on pace, concentrating on everything but the views you've got around you. Keep your head up, although head up here is reminding me that I have to get all the way up there. Right there marks the highest point of the race, and from then turn around and head back down. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. This right here, whew, is what we live for. So we now move from the rocky terrain to the sandy terrain of this race. What do you think this landscape looks like? Frodo, no! I really love my job. You don't get that in your comfort zone. So the next one is don't say yes to every race. I mean, when the North Face call you up and say, hey, you want to chat to some of the best athletes in the world and then run a marathon on a beautiful island where it's 25 degrees and you're currently sat in rainy England, you say yes, but don't say yes to everything. My first year running, I did 4 marathons and 6 half marathons, and unsurprisingly I got a stress fracture. Say yes to the right things, because then you could be running in places like here. So the next don't is running is not a solo sport. That's why I got him here. Hello. Basically, when I first started running, I did everything by myself. I was so self-conscious. I ran at night, didn't join a running club, kept away from running other people that were running as much as possible. There's that ridiculous saying, cliched saying, if you want to run fast, go alone. If you want to run far, run with people. This endless climb out of the town. You can hear the aid station is cruel in this heat. I am definitely struggling. Oh, that shade and breeze. Oh, it is almost 14 miles in 4.5 hours. Okay, next big mistake. It doesn't always have to be the big races. Most of the races that I've enjoyed out of the 40 that I've done are marathons that are smaller. This race, for example, is only 1,200 people, I think. Look at those smaller races, because they're cheaper to get into, usually cheaper to travel and stay at, and the atmosphere is just as incredible. Oh, I'm really struggling now. This heat is an absolute killer. And then we twin it with this climb that's basically all the way down from down there. This is basically trail running on difficulty setting 11. Every time you get a little bit used to some terrain, boop, enjoying some sandy terrain, boop, really jagged stones. You enjoying this cobbled stones, you know what you're doing, boop, tree roots. You enjoying this concrete, boop, really steep uphill. Ow, just kicked a stone really hard. The next mistake definitely took me a few years to learn, but it is not all about the watch. It's not all about the time on the screen. When I first got into running, I definitely felt like I wasn't a proper runner unless I run a marathon or a half marathon this time. And as I've progressed in running, I'm realizing more and more that it kind of isn't about the time, for me anyway. I know for so many people it's the motivational factor. I'm finding I enjoy the training and then therefore the race itself. If I'm kind of more focused on enjoying it, enjoying those miles, being strong enough to enjoy all those miles. It's finished lines, not finished times. And that was an awful rhyme, but I'm very hot. So forgive me. Not hot as in like attractive, I mean it's really warm here. So right there, that dam over there, that is the next aid station. That bloody cactus. Cacti? Cactuses? We are at the last aid station. I've just checked the cut-off time and I've got 10 minutes. Now I've got to do is get 14k in 3 hours, which is very doable. Very, very doable. The next mistake I want to chat about is very fitting for what I'm feeling right now, which is adjust your goals based on the conditions you're in. The best example I have of this is I ran Edinburgh Marathon a couple of years ago and I was aiming for a PB, but it was like unseasonably hot for Scotland. And I kept pushing and about 14 miles, I fainted and woke up in a bush. Bushed on and then bushed in. God, that was so bad. It's like I'm in a Western. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, that's exactly how it sounds. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. What is the best place you've ever run in? I want something else from my bucket list after this year is done. So, drop it in the comments down below. Or, what's on your bucket list? You know, are you aiming to run one marathon? Are you aiming to go faster than you've ever gone before? Let me know. I love reading this kind of thing. We all do here at our own channel. It inspires us to keep going out. So let us know in the comments down below. The next mistake is not respecting the distance. 26.2 is a bloody long way. The only DNF did not finish I've had in a marathon was at the Mont Blanc Marathon. So I was there on holiday, thought, great, I'll get a marathon in. Didn't really respect the fact that it was 26.2 miles. Very uphill with a lot of technical ascent and descent. Got up the first climb, really hot day, and my body was just not having any of it. So I got to a gondola and took the gondola down, and as I now call the Gondola of Shame. Oh my god, cactus eyes. Cactus. Cacti? Well, I've deliberately waited until I got to this bit, which is the riverbed. I think one of the toughest parts of the race, because you are 4 or 5 miles from the finish line, your body is knackered, and then you have loose terrain. But this brings me very neatly to this mistake, which is make sure you got the right gear. Goes without saying, you hear us bang on about it over and over again. So this is the North Face Summit Vector Pro 2s. My worry was that I'd be fighting these shoes. They have a carbon plate, they have quite a high stack height, but actually they have worked with me and for me through this race. The leader of this race finished in 3.5 hours. I'm gonna finish in 9.5 hours, but it works for them and it works for me, and that's a hard thing to do, especially with a trail shoe. I bloody love trail running. I have spent this entire race telling you about the mistakes I made when it comes to marathon running, but the biggest, best decision I ever made in my life is starting to run marathons. Running a marathon will change your life for the better. So click that button, sign up for it, and thank me later. And right now, I'm gonna go finish my 40th marathon! was 40th marathon. Probably one of the slowest ones I've ever done, but definitely one of the proudest. So I want you to drop in the comments what marathon you're going to take on having watched this. And since this is part of my 100-mile training series, go and watch part 1 right now, because I need to lie down. Oh my goodness.